Hi there. Welcome to the next installment of our Masterclass series. Today we're going to be talking about what rights buyers see on DropCap Marketplace. Straightforward. I think this is a great topic that we have a lot of interest in, especially from our authors who already have a DropCap Marketplace account and maybe want to learn more about how rights buyers make their decisions and how they use our platform to help them find books. So glad to have you with us. As I go, please feel free to drop any questions into the chat. I'll save some time at the end to go over those questions. And I'd love to just hear where everyone's from, what your book is, whether you're a current author, or if you're thinking about signing up for DropCap Marketplace, just feel free to go ahead and drop that in the chat as we get started here. So this will be a bit different from our other master classes if you've been to any of the others, as I'm actually going to be demoing the back end of our platform. So you'll see exactly what a rights buyer sees from their perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first off, how do publishers find books? This is a great question. We're going to be talking mostly about how they find books using our platform. Uh, but the main way they do this is through DropCap Marketplace. And one of the tools they use is our advanced search and filter, which they use to find books on various topics of interest. They have dashboards where they can log in and titles are curated for them. And then we also send weekly pitch emails of books that are matched to the buyer's criteria. So there's a few different ways that we're both reaching out to them and providing them the tools that they need to find books. The very first thing that a buyer is going to see is your cover and your title. So just like when you're selling books to a potential reader, you need to make sure that your cover and your title are going to be interesting to the person that's looking at it. So I'm going to hop into our demo now. First, we're going to look at the DropCap Marketplace website. So anyone is able to search our marketplace directly from our website. They can type into the search bar or they can look up various categories here. I'm going to look at the self-help category. And I don't need to be logged in as a buyer to do this. But say, you know, I've come to the site before, I've seen what's popular. I want to see what books are newest. Again, we're looking specifically in the self-help category. There's a lot of different options that as a buyer I could use this search and filter for. But right now I'm just looking at the newest books in the self-help category. This one looks interesting to me. Maybe I remember getting an email about that book. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one. Yeah, so first thing I'm going to look at here is some of the specs about the book. I like the page count. Rights buyers don't necessarily want to license a book that is going to have huge translation costs. So maybe they are looking for a lower page count. I want to, you know, check, okay, that's a normal trim size. This is when it was published. It's relatively recent. I'm going to be using this information to quickly get an idea about what the book might actually look like if I was holding it in my hands. Then I'm going to scroll down. I really like this description as a buyer. I love having bullet points here because I can learn about the book quickly. I have a lot of books that I'm looking at, so the quicker I can get the information, the better. I love that there's awards and endorsements here. That means that the author is working on building an audience. There's other people that think the book is great. These ones even have links where I could go look at the awards, which I love as well. So this sounds really promising. So I'm me pretending to be a buyer. So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I want to check out what the author, more information about the author. So I can actually click here and I see the author has their website in here. They have all of their social media I could go check out. I can quickly read their bio. I love that. Okay, they're a former Coca-Cola and Apple advertising executive. That is important for me as a buyer to know, because if I want to invest in this book, I'm also investing in the author. So I want to know information about the author. I want to know other types of achievement, maybe that they've gained, even if it's not particularly related to their book, because it's important when you're putting money to license and publish a book, that you believe in the person who has written it. So as a buyer, I'm very interested in this. I'm going to go back to the book listing, and maybe I want to look at the interior of this book before I move any further. I want to see what's on the inside. This is where, if you're not logged in, you will not actually be able to access the interior of the book. So if I'm a buyer that already has a login, I'm able to go right here and log in. Or if I've never used DropCap before, I can contact the DropCap team and get verified as a buyer. So we're vetting all of the rights buyers that we allow access to our system, or if they want to view PDFs or sign contracts or do any of the actions that they need to actually license the book, because we want to make sure that our entire buyer network is legitimate, and we want to make sure that they're people that we know and trust. So let's hop over to our users section. So I want to show you what it actually looks like when you're logged into a user account. I have a demo account set up here that I'm able to log into. And when a rights buyer stays logged into our site, they can go to dropcapmarketplace.com, go to their account here, and then this is what they're seeing. So a little bit different from the searchable marketplace, we are creating a curated dashboard for our rights buyers. So we're looking at all of the books that are in our platform, and we're showing them different categories, but a smaller amount. We find that our rights buyers, if they're not searching for something specific, they don't want to wade through a lot of books. They want it to be very curated. So this is part of what we do um, on our end with your books, when we're matching them up to potential rights buyers. So the first category we have here is trending. And I'll talk a bit about what you can do to get your book into this trending category, and kind of how that works. I'll talk about that in a moment. The next section I have here is our newest titles. This is literally every title that goes in that matches the buyer's criteria, just in the order in which it has been added. So your book, when it's added to the DropCap Marketplace platform, is showing up in this newest category when it first goes in to the buyers that match that particular book. And then finally, we have this category of recently licensed. This is a category that our rights buyers like to peruse, because they want to see what people in other markets are licensing, and that can influence their acquisition decisions. So that's why when you get your first license, it can be very likely that you'll get another license, because a rights buyer in China might see that a rights buyer in Korea picked up a certain book. So I've looked at these categories. Just say, for example, nothing has caught my eye, or I have a specific idea in mind of something I'm looking for. I can go to the search over here. This is the same search that is on our front-facing website, but now I'm logged into my account. I can do the same type of searching. This time, instead of selecting a category, I'm actually going to search dystopia. That's not a category that we have, because it's a very niche subgenre of books, and that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and search that, and you can see it pulls up all of the books we have that mention that they are dystopia related novel. So I'm looking at these. I am going to click on the Inheritors. That one looks interesting to me. So again, I'm going to look at the specs we have here. You'll notice that when I'm logged in as a buyer, I'm actually getting an estimated units sold. So this is something that, again, we only show to our rights buyers when they're logged in, and we attempt to find that information. But you, as the author, can also add in your estimated units sold. And we do ranges. Sometimes we don't have the data. So we're not giving our rights buyers an exact number of sales, but it helps them understand, where how the book is performing, and that can help inform their decisions. If you have under 300 copies sold, that's not a deal breaker. It's just the information that the buyer might want to have as they make their decision on how much they might want to offer for the book. They'll look at when it came out. They'll look at what other sorts of awards and endorsements there are. They're processing all of this information about the book when they're making their decisions, and they're also basing it on what you know what types of books are performing well for them. So I'm looking at this one. I like that there are awards and reviews here that are saying good things about the book. That makes me want to learn more about it. I could download a sell sheet. This is an interesting tool that we have because we found that a lot of rights buyers want to be able to download something that they can then share with their team. A lot of times they'll have an entire editorial team that has to review the books that an editor is deciding to acquire, and they all have to approve it. So this is a way for them to quickly share information about the books, even if maybe other people on their team don't have a DropCap account. They can send this sell sheet to their team via email, and that helps them kind of make their own pitch for their book to their team if that's something that they need to do. So just going back here, I really like the look of this, but I'm going to click on the PDF. Oh, and I can see the interior of the book as well. So again, only vetted rights buyers are able to see this, and that's going to help me make my decision. I really like this book, so I'm going to add it to my favorites to come back to it later. And then I'd like to go back to my search here and look at another book. And I'm seeing, okay, this one doesn't have any sales data, but it has some nice awards and endorsements. Looking at this as a rights buyer, it's looking interesting to me. Maybe I want to know more about the author. There's some information about the author here. I like that the author is a best-selling author. I'd maybe want to see some social media from the author or their website, or more specific achievements and recognition. For example, these award-winning best-selling accolades could go down here. It just kind of helps draw the buyer's eye to those specific achievements. So when I mentioned earlier that there are ways to get your book into that trending category, that is all based on the actions that a rights buyer is taking when they look at your book. So uh, clicking into it, um, downloading the sell sheet, looking at the interior, adding it to your favorites. These are all things that actions that a rights buyer can take that are then going to feed into what titles we consider to be trending. It's very similar to a web search algorithm where the more interactions your book is getting, the more we assume people want to see it. So things you can do to increase your chances of showing up in that trending area is stuff like adding awards and endorsements. You want to engage the rights buyer first with a great cover, and then once they land on your page, they want to see this type of information to potentially download a sell sheet, look at the PDF, or add it to their favorites. And that is going to continue to drive more rights buyers to look at your book. So the last thing I want to show here, first I'll mention if you don't have a PDF downloaded, or a PDF uploaded rather, and a rights buyer wants to look at it, they can click there, see that there's no PDF, add it to their favorites, and then we'll notify you and let you know, hey, a rights buyer has added this book to their favorites, but there's no PDF. So you need to upload your PDF. They'll be notified once you do. That way they can then go ahead and keep looking at it. That's their next step after they've shown interest in a book, is to want to see the interior. A great way you can help facilitate that is to have it uploaded already, because they want to make their decisions right away. And if they have to wait for the PDF, they might move on in that time. So that's my advice: upload the PDF right away. I'm going to show you their favorites section. So now as a buyer, I can log out, I could log back in, I can go back and look at the books that I was interested in. So if I'm, not making a decision right now, but I go back and look at it later, maybe you've added more awards or, more press or something interesting that has happened. Maybe you've hit a certain milestone with your social media. I can go back and look at these books at any time. I've already shown some interest in it and see the new information about them. So the last thing I'll show you here from a buyer perspective, we've talked about how they go out and search for books. We also do proactive outreach and push the books to them. And the way that we do that is through our email pitches. So every week we are looking at all of the books in our marketplace, and we use an algorithm to match them with rights buyers. It's like we're acting as the rights buyer's personalized book scout and saying, hey, this book matches other types of books you've bought before. It's in your wheelhouse for the types of books that you typically license. We suggest you take a look at it. And this is what that email looks like. Again, this is one of the ones that I clicked on earlier. And it will only show the number of books that are good matches. So sometimes this email might have 2 books, sometimes it might have 5. We're really making it super targeted. So the rights buyer is more likely to want to click on the book because they're not just being inundated with everything. They're getting very targeted marketing from us. So that's the email. And again, please feel free to drop any questions into the chat. I have a few more things I'll go over here. I want to hop back to my slideshow here. Just make sure everyone can see that. Yes. And I wanted to share what our rights buyers are saying about our platform because it is unique in the industry. And we have this quote from the managing editor at Manjul Publishing House, which is one of the large Indian publishing houses that works primarily with nonfiction. And she says, no one has the same book discoverability system that you have. Your platform is very convenient for us as rights buyers in India. So we realized that a lot of rights buyers were using tools like Amazon to try to find books. And Amazon is not built for rights buyers. So this is why we built DropCap Marketplace, was to give them better tools for finding books that are available for licensing and that are coming from indie authors. So how else do rights buyers find books? I wanted to just touch on this. I want to make sure I leave enough time for some questions, but these are also important ways, in addition to our platform, that rights buyers are finding books throughout the year. One of those is social media channels, such as Instagram. That's our most popular channel with our rights buyers. So we are constantly posting about our books on Instagram and targeting our rights buyers with those books. Now, that is typically done on an editorial basis, meaning we're selecting the books that we want to feature based on what our agents see in the marketplace and what they think will resonate. We do offer certain promotions that would be an additional cost and give you ways to feature your books on our social media or through rights guides like our seasonal showcase. So in addition to our social media channels, we like to reach out to our buyers with what we call rights guides. This is much more old school in terms of how buyers are used to being presented books, and we want to make sure we're meeting them where they're at. So those rights buyers who are maybe they're a little technology shy, we are still giving them ways to see our books and that meet their expectations. So in this instance, it would be a rights guide, which is a PDF or an online flip book. Right now, we are running our our spring seasonal showcase, and it's just another targeted way to put your books in front of rights buyers, because some of them are just really used to looking at a PDF or a catalog, and we want to cover all our bases. And then the last big one I'll mention here is international book fairs. So despite the fact that a lot of rights licensing happens throughout the year, And we have all of these wonderful online communication tools, and we have Zoom, and we take meetings with buyers in China any time of the year at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. The international book fairs are still one of the primary ways that we maintain good relationships with our rights buyers. So DropCap is at the Frankfurt Book Fair. We are at the London Book Fair and the Bologna Children's Book Fair. And then we have co-agents in China that go to the Beijing and Shanghai book fairs. We also attend Guadalajara in the late fall. And this is an opportunity for our rights buyers to see our books in person. This is can be a very important way. If you've seen some engagement with your book on DropCap Marketplace, it looks like buyers are interested, but no one's really pulled the trigger yet. Sending your book to a book fair can be a great way to get them to say yes to licensing your book. Because when you can pick up and feel a book in person, you're going to remember it better and you're going to be more excited about it. You have the energy of the book fair there. You have an agent there sitting and pitching you that particular book. It can just be a very effective way to get a little bit of extra attention on your book if maybe you are not, if you're not seeing results, or if you are seeing results and want to compound that, having your book in person at a book fair can be very valuable. So we will be sending out information in the next month or so about the Frankfurt Book Fair if anyone is interested in doing that. But I just wanted to mention it as an important way that buyers are still finding books. And now I will be happy to answer any questions that people have. Please feel free to use this 10% off coupon code LUNCH if you have not already signed up for DropCap Marketplace. And before I answer questions, I do also just want to mention that one of our, I think not our last masterclass, but the one right before it, I recommend you check that one out as well. It's called How to Get Noticed by International Publishers. And that one has some great information about things you can do to improve your book listings that are going to feed into what we just talked about today in terms of how rights buyers are finding and interacting with your book. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the questions here. Okay, so Simon asked, how many pages should be in the PDF and should it have a watermark or does your team handle it? So right now, we do recommend including the full PDF of the book and watermarking it. When you go into your account to upload the PDF, there's going to be some directions and a link to free software that lets you watermark it because we know that not everyone has the software on hand to do that. It is very simple. If you have any problems, we are happy to help with that. In the future, I would love to integrate watermarking software directly into our platform, but we haven't quite gotten there yet. So yes, go to your account, go to the PDF upload button, and click on that button. It will tell you exactly what to do to watermark that PDF before you upload it. If you're hesitant, you can just upload a sample, but really at the point where a rights buyer is looking at the interior of the book, they really want to see the whole thing because they want to decide if they're going to license it and acquire it. So Jack asked, I have a thriller series based in Italy, 4 books. Should I post all 4 of them or choose one that has a lot of reviews on Amazon? I would really recommend posting all 4 of them because oftentimes rights buyers are looking for a series, especially in the thriller genre. I think it can be very effective to show that you already have books out because they want to know, okay, if I license all 4 books, that's my publishing schedule for the next 4 years, and they can plan around that. So it's better information, I think, for them to know that those 4 books are all out versus if you just list one, they might not realize that there's more books in the series, or they might think that the other books are forthcoming. So yes, I would recommend listing all 4. Peter asked, I'm writing book 4 in my historical fiction series. having the first three converted into audiobooks. Does this help? So we actually license two audiobook companies. Um, they if you were to receive an audio license, they would make their own recording. So as far as it goes with DropCap and licensing, having audiobook versions really doesn't have an effect, um, because anytime, and I'll expand into that too with translations. Like I talk to authors sometimes who say, I've already had my book translated into Spanish. Is that going to help me attract Spanish language rights buyers? And the answer is unfortunately not really, because anytime a publisher licenses your book, whether it's for audio or a translation, they're going to do their own production, their own translation, and having that available to them doesn't really affect their decision. So if you are really looking to get your book licensed into a certain market, please don't spend your money on a translation unless you just want to do it, because it's not going to have an effect on the ability to license it. And same goes for audio. And hopefully that answers your question, Peter. Um, All right. Well, I don't see any other questions here in the chat, but I am going to add my email address and pop it up on the screen. If you have any questions that you think of, or if you're watching the recording of this video later, please feel free to email them to me. I'm happy to help. And or I'll have someone on my team that can help you. So thanks for sharing your lunch break with me. And again, you can use our coupon code if you are not already a customer. And thanks for being with us.